Hello everyone! My not so trustworthy Xbox 360 Slim has died. Fortunately the power supply is still good, so I wanted to turn it into a general purpose power supply. Unfortunately it uses this really strange and probably proprietary connector, so I had to cut it off and just test how it worked. Basically it's a 12 volt power supply with it's a 12 volt and 5 volt power supply. Can deliver 9 amps at 12 volt and 1 amp at 5 volt. It's a bit strange because by default it only powers the 5 volt rail, and then you have to enable this blue wire with the 5 volt to enable the 12 volt line. I just plugged in the power supply so we can see that the black wires is the ground, the yellow ones is the 12 volt line, and the red one is the 5 volt. To power on the 12 volt I just used a 10K pull-up resistor, which turned out to be probably not necessary because you can see it provides a 3 volt to the blue enable wire, which means there's probably a pull down resistor. Now that this simple board to enable the power supply is working, I want to build a nice today I want to build a nice enclosure with the 5 volt and 12 volt rails with double post bindings. So that's what I'm gonna do today. I just printed and glued the cutting templates for the holes I need to cut in the enclosure. So there will be 2 holes per binding post, and there's also a Molex connector going behind to connect to the Xbox power supply. Using this as a router is much more efficient than using a cutting disc. So, not a very precise cutout for the Molex connector, but it should do, and nothing a little bit of hot snap can fix. So quite wobbly, but it holds and it will do. I don't know if you can see, but this enclosure is giving me a little bit of trouble for the last hole for the binding post, because it comes with PCB that can be mounted, but the mounting posts are in the way, so I'll have to somehow cut them off. So I've been able to remove quite a bit of material and the inner post, but getting all the way to fit this mount is going to be quite a challenge. So finally, I think I found a way, just slowly drilling a cavity with a routing bit, and now it's pretty well aligned, so it should fit. Let's see. Yeah, not super tight for now, but it should do. Alright, now just gotta do the second one. Let's go. Alright, this side looks good too. Let's try it out. Perfect. So finally we have all the holes drilled. I'm gonna clean up a little bit and we can go to the circuit board after that, and then the final assembly. Whew, the smell of burnt ABS is something. So just need to solder some wire that will be crimped to the Molex collector and the wires that will be connected to the terminals, and add a resistor. I'll use a 1K because the 10K was overkill in the prototype. So that's it, let's go. So here we have the input side that's done. The purple wire will be the 12 volt, the gray one the ground, the black the 12 volt enable line, and the red the 5 volt. So let's do the output side now. So that's it, all the soldering is done. And now we have to crimp the connectors for the Molex connector and then attach this to the output post, and then assemble the box. So let's crimp the Molex connector. Okay, so all the cables are crimped. Now we need to put them in the socket. I've never used these micro fit, and I just can't seem to put them in. Okay, they don't want to fit. Try to recrimp them, maybe. Yikes. Oh, that's no good. Okay, the problem is I think I wasn't careful enough and I crimped too far, which deformed the part that clips. These one might work. Okay, this one is good, but I feel like I will have to recrimp quite a bit of them. All those are way out of whack. Nope. Okay, gotta have to do them almost all over. I need to be careful not to go over the metal crimping part that crimps on the connector. Okay, not working. Let's do it again. It stopped recording, so we finished crimping the male connector, which goes in the enclosure. It was a real pain. Never used the micro fit something by Molex, so you really need to be careful not to over crimp beyond the tab. Now we're gonna do the mating part on the Xbox power supply. So we're gonna cut these wire and crimp them. Now we need to make sure once these are connected that we connect them there on the right one. But first let's crimp. Okay, looks good. Let's try it just to make sure we're not making a mistake again. So, yellow is 12 volt, it's going to the purple one. Seems good. Okay, let's go. Alright. 5-volt signal, ground. Okay, let's clip them in. Let's try clipping it in. Okay, so we have 12 volt, 12 volt, enable, and 5 volt. Okay, now before we do the final assembly, let's make sure everything is working as expected. First, I plugged the Xbox power supply in and it turns green, which means everything is okay and the 12 volt should be enabled. So let's try out. Let's get the multimeter. 12 volt, yep, and 5 volt is here. Okay, and just for fun, let's measure the enable line. So now it's 4.7 volts, so that's okay. Alright, let's do the final assembly now. Okay, mistake. I need to put this in first because of the cavity that I created earlier, which is very limited in space. Get in. Okay. Let's make it tight right now. Nope. Let's try with a wrench. Is it a metric? That's metric. Not quite. Imperial, maybe. And that looks good. 5/16 wrench. Oh, it's working, nice. Let's do the second one. This one should be much easier to tighten down. Alright. So that's solid. Now we need to strip quite a bit of wire, wind it around. Well, okay, it's going to be fun. Now, let's do the grounds. Okay, last one. Before completely closing the enclosure, let's try it out to make sure the connections are good. The power supply is open, but it's red, so that's normal because it's not connected. Now, if we connect it, still red. Something strange. Yeah, nothing here. 3 volt, why? Huh? What is going on? Okay, let's unplug the power supply, plug it in. Okay, seems like the power supply needs to be connected with the enable on when it starts, otherwise it gets into an error mode. So that's 12 volt and that's 5 volt. Alright, let's do the final build-up. So we need to fit everything in. Now I only have one post, so I hope everything is fine. And the only thing I don't like about this enclosure is the bottom is made of metal. So I'm gonna just cover that in electrical tape to make sure there's no short. Okay. There it is. An adapter to connect Xbox 360 power supply to banana plugs. Well, probably gonna add some, yeah, need to add some glue there because it just went through. Not great. So let's add this glue right now, and then we should be done with this. Okay, so the heat gun glue has heated up. Let's do this. Should do it. Come on. Okay. Need to be much. Let's scrape the excess right now. Yeah, I need to put it on the tabs also. Here, try remove it. Yeah, it's not dry, but it should be just enough to. Yeah, it's working. So while it's drying, let's let it clip in. Let's turn it on. The light is green, which is good. Let's get a multimeter. So we've got 5 volts and 12 volts. So that's it. That's the build. If you have a dead Xbox, you can always turn it into a bench power supply. So I hope you liked it. If you need more information, just visit dieselpower.ca or click on the link in the video description, and you will have all the details, the part numbers, and more photos of the build. Alright, see you next time.